I had some food cooking on the stove. Before this I did a 3-minute video micro workout session. Micro workouts, aka baby workouts. So sometimes if I do a light training session, I call it micro workout or a baby workout. There's baby push-ups as opposed to harder, more intense push-ups. Will be push-ups off the floor on the knuckles, especially if tight, they're kind of hard to do. Now, these push-ups are compared to normal push-ups like a cakewalk. So, micro workouts are by the low intensity, low rep range, low intensity, low duration. So micro workouts, you can go farther to micro workouts. This sort of hack too for people, if you're fat and watching this. Shame on you first of all. Okay. But it's like if you're watching and you're fat, and you say, oh, this guy is ripped with a six-pack, so I guess possibly this guy knows how to lose belly fat, or the person is looking to lose fat. And here's the point. If you're a person, that's kind of niche, okay, it's general, like teaching health, fitness and coaching is about 2 cents and $9 million worth of opinion. If you have a hard time getting started exercising, what you can do is start small and be consistent. So build a habit. And now we'll talk like a niche extreme case. Where someone's like on YouTube and I find my video. And it's like the rare person is like, they've been thinking about exercising. Like they've been thinking, they're still like I'm plotting, I'm thinking about it, start exercising, but it's like I don't get around to it and stuff like this. Now part of it can be, you might be aiming too high, that can be part of like to keep you from success. So if you're too perfectionistic, it's like you get stuck into like contemplating the hardness of the activity, where it's like your brain is fighting you, and it's like getting started can be the hardest part. So like getting started, like initiation can be the hardest part, just getting into it. So it's like kind of like, wow, this is a big deal. It's like if you're a person exercise, like, wow, I gotta exercise really big and hard. Start small. You start small with something. You go for macro workouts. You can also build. You can build a habit of exercising light. So if somebody on a fitness level is like, they don't have it in them to do 30 minutes, they tell themselves, and that might be the case. So you can build a habit, for example, every time you go to the bathroom, you pop out a few bodyweight squats or a few push-ups against the top of the floor. Something you can do, and you build a habit of every time you go to the bathroom, you do 3 squats, for example. The person like a fat gamer, let's say, is like not exercise at all, and if you think about it, something you can do is better to start small and do something and get consistent. So just the skill of getting consistent with exercising, more so than focusing on making it really hard. So you can start by every time you go to the bathroom, you build a habit of, if I go to the bathroom, I do 3 squats. And people are not going to the bathroom 2-3 times per day. And you can do it in any bathroom, public bathrooms, like they get enough space for most people to do 3 squats there. So you build a habit of, if you go to the bathroom, you do 3 bodyweight squats, starting out. Or like 5 push-ups or something like this, or 3 push-ups, whatever you can do. So these push-ups, I call them tilted push-ups, baby push-ups, or other things. So, here we go. I did 30 of these in a YouTube short, 3-minute YouTube short. And I started cooking, I went live. I started cooking, I went live. I went doing some more exercising, getting off some steam. I do it wide. If you are in the chat, don't expect I'll be checking the chat. I'm not big on the chat. I don't go live on YouTube, make videos, because I'm lonely and need people to talk to. Taking comments is necessarily evil at best, most of the time. So, even if you write comments, I'm not seeing them right now. I don't pay attention to comments. At this moment. You can wear the form. Another thing is varying your exercises. So if you're doing push-ups, it's like you're hitting failure. And it's like you hit failure after doing some type of push-ups. It's like you can keep doing push-ups and just alter the form so ever so lightly, and then other muscle groups take over. It's like share the workload. if I'm doing them kind of strict from like a certain exact way, and portrait failure, you hit failure or get close to it, then you can go a little bit wider and you can do a few more. Like if I go to failure, so I'm doing them this tight in a certain way. It's like I can't do many more, I hit the limit. I go wider, it's like, oh, I can get in at least 3 more wider. Need I remind you, only 1 in 25,000 men have a six-pack above 35. So I enjoy being in elite physique, top 1%, male fitness elite. I'd say my physique is athletic plus. I looked at a poll before, like voting what physique women find most attractive, and it's my physique basically. Polling women, which physique do you find most attractive, and it's one that's like real thin, scrawny. There's one that's athletic, which is my build but a little bit less muscular, and then there's kind of this strong, athletic strong. So in this poll where they show like body types of women, they picked athletic and strong got like 50 and 40% of the votes. And then like the rich Piana, Arnold Schwarzenegger, their physique, like huge bodybuilders, less women picked that as the most attractive physique. But the most attractive physique would be my physique, not the women. Like the athletic strong physique. And it's not the only study. It's like I've seen it on Facebook too. Like I Googled and they had like the graphic is okay. I've also seen people do this polling like fitness groups on Facebook, where somebody posts like an ad and a picture different body types for this. Women vote also for this. And it's always the type of physique that I had that's deemed to be ideal. So don't fall in for unhealthy fitness ideals. A lot of guys do. It's like the bigger is better. It's like the ideal physique is I'm aiming, chasing this ideal of getting as big and heavy as possible. It's not ideal in this way, significant way. What makes more attractive women, which they call the metric. Like gauging what is ideal, a lot of times women are decent judges at value in a man, see? Because a woman, what she finds attractive is going to end up being quality genetics, facial symmetry, quality genetics, physique, fitness, athleticism. So what women find attractive is a good indicator of good ways to be as a man, basically. Women find it more attractive if you're confident than if you are like timid and shy, like super nervous, okay? So, and it's generally good to be confident, okay? Women find this and that, so that's one metric. Second, having top physique that I have is ideal and better. So I would have been always said I want to be the biggest, that's the ideal. No, not according to science. It makes you less attractive women. It's ideal to what? Now women don't find it more attractive, find my type of physique more attractive. And it's not ideal for your mental performance and longevity. So if you're a person that's like that, it's not like I wanted. This is if a person is looking, I want to live a long life. I'm not looking to die in the next 5 years. I want to make it as close to 100 as possible. Being thin is conducive to that. So having a light body, low BMI, is good for longevity. Whereas being heavy, huge, big, heavy fat, huge fat, or huge muscle, heavy muscle, that's gonna make you live a shorter life. So you're less likely to make it to 100 if you're heavy, fat heavy, or muscle heavy. So I have a hamburger, just a hamburger, not the bun, cooking right now in the kitchen in coconut oil and avocado, flat cooking fats. And I put a whole, it's one hamburger, it's a hamburger, maybe it's 9, maybe it's 120 grams. I didn't check. I had to switch up types of hamburgers. They didn't have like the thick ones. They're like, so anyway, hamburger and a can of beans in tomato sauce. Flexible. This is relaxed. It tensed up. Like even better. Okay, so I did actually check the comments now, and a lot of times I wait to check the comments. So don't expect like, oh, I get used to. If I had the chat open entire like this, it's because I forgot to turn it off and I didn't build the habit fully. Or I leave it open for some other reason. Now, a lot of times if I'm live streaming, I'm purposely not checking the chat if it's open. I might take a break when I'm done talking and let's check to see if I got any comments on the one. Or towards the end of live stream, I feel like I'm done making the video now, and then get to check the comments. So, before I get to the comments, I can see somebody had a question. You might can ask pretty soon, but I'm gonna show what I talked about. Ideal male physique. Gotta see Mike Sash from there. And here they have pulled women. Born to Beasley. Don't forget to hit the like button if you're watching this. The ideal male body type according to women survey results. Here, the most attractive degree of muscularity. When we asked women which degree of muscularity were most attractive to, there was a fairly even split between the athletic and strong type, which is my physique. I'm like a mix of these two physiques. Athletic, strong. Athletic and strong. Strong and athletic. I'm right in between here. Okay. Right in between athletic and strong. So this is skinny. I've had people say I'm skinny before, haters on the internet. That's called gaslighting, first of all. So this combined, so I'm right in the middle here. A mix of athletic and strong. This study using words called that. Very strong. This would be Rich Piana's, Greg Doucette, Mike Israetel, vegan gains type physique. I'm not a hater. So what we're talking about ideal here. What's significant, as far as I count it, ideal is in terms of what it makes you most attractive. You don't have to ask a woman to know. If you ask her to say, you can tell, it's like, you should be able to know. So, how attractive to women is not, I'm a Christian, so I'm not looking to hook up with women, I'm married. It's not like attract women because I'm trying to get laid or something like this. Attract women as a metric of it's like, what women find attractive is something for their marriage in terms of you're going to decide what's ideal in a man. Okay. So women are not attracted to weakness. So if you're stronger as a man, you're more attracted than a weak man. Generally. So athletic here. So I'm a mix between athletic and strong. This would be Rich Piana and vegan gains and these other people. Now that could be like a niche personal ideal. For it's like if vegan gains or Mike Israetel, Greg Doucette, or like, you know what, I've had a dream since I was a boy, I want to be like a bodybuilder, I want to be as big as I can, and personally it's like something I want to fulfill that dream. It's like, here's my person, I have just like a taste for this type of physique, and I want to be as huge and big as possible. But for you personally,
being happy with yourself, or like, well, I'm wanting to compete in bodybuilding as a sport. For you personally, that would be ideal for you achieving that specific goal. See, okay. Now, if talking ideal in terms of what women find attractive, women will find it more attractive if you have an athletic, strong physique, more so than if you have like the bodybuilder type. Now, still, you're better off having this physique than being obese, like fat, like huge fat. Okay, you're more attractive because this looks healthier than obese person. You see lean muscle, good muscle definition, and it takes like hormonal health to achieve and maintain this physique, and it takes discipline, character, and it's like it does signal it's like strength of a sort. So you're better off having this physique, you know, a few women voted for it, versus if they have to have a fat person, somebody who's like fat, obese. Okay. So I told you I have an ideal physique, athletic, strong. So I'm gonna. I saw you got a. I got some questions. So let's get to the questions. Bro's jacked. Thanks. Yes, I am. Yes, comma, I am. Period. Capital T. Hank. You. Period. What is Sigma 6-7? Bro's jacked. W. Yes. Do real push-ups. I do real push-ups. I don't do fake push-ups, but it's like it's stunt arms, and I got like a practical special effects shit. Where it's like this is just rubber arms, and I'm actually doing push-ups. It's a guy pulling that strings, make look like bars going up and down. But it's not. It's what is real push-ups? Yeah, very real push-ups. Hi Mike, hello. Or AK Sedona. Now, the do real push-ups guy is getting blocked, okay? Go do some push-ups. The guy needs to do push-ups more likely statistically. He's a guy that shows up in the stream what a guy look like I do. What I do is have more likely the guy is a guy who's out of shape who really needs to be doing some real push-ups, okay? Okay, I imagine you'd be like a Reddit model, like a bridge troll build guy. Statistically more likely. Either that or like scoring. You're gonna be like at the end of an extreme of like lower tractor. So you're gonna have some insecurities. No healthy person presents in this way, operating in the manner that you want. So we got a comment here. So the person left it. Know that it's like if you want to survive the great marks and antenna predators, you be in your best behavior. If you show up irking and pushing my buttons, being disrespectful and rude, it's not a channel. It's like I let that slide. I let people come and be toxic and abuse to me. It's like I get rid of you. Okay. I throw the trash out, take the trash out. Now, this Sedona is going to get an answer because they're not showing signs of being here messing with me, which I don't tolerate. Hi, Mike. My brother is asking if he can go back to being an ectomorph from being an endomorph. He was an ectomorph his whole life, then worked out and became a mesomorph. But now, after years of illness, equals obese. I would say don't get hung up on this ecto-meso yada yada morph, okay? It's like hyper advanced. We don't have to learn Greek here and things like this. Don't get hung up on the body types. And there's a lot of bad stuff about that where it's like some people use the ectomorph to justify it. I'm not just don't have the bone muscle to get in impressive shape. I got a mesomorph for ectoplasm and the goals, who you gonna call Ghostbusters? Okay. So there's a lot of badness associated to this. It's like you don't have to have a certain body type called an ectomorph, mectomorph, esomorph to get in shape. So whatever you're looking, if you're looking to lose weight and get fat, it doesn't matter if you're an ecto, meso, hecto, la la land morph. It doesn't matter what type of body build you have. It's called this or that. If you're fitness goal, you can achieve fitness goals. You can make progress. If you're a fat guy and short, you can be a fat guy short and still get less fat, say. If you're a guy that's like without training is present as a young man as like very narrow shoulders and no like V-taper, and it's like you have not really a good build, you can get in shape and widen what you want to widen and narrow sort of things. Okay, so the ectomesomorph stuff is like I'm not really a fan of that. It's just confusing and strange. There's a lot of badness associated to that. if he can go back to ectomorph from being endomorph. He was an ectomorph his whole life, then worked out and became a mesomorph. But now, after years of illness, equals obese. Yeah, so there's a connection between being obese and being sick. So if you get fat, you'll get sick more or less sooner or later. Count on it. If you get sick, that's conducive to making you fat. And part of the reason why men, if they get unhealthy, put on fat, part of it is the testosterone, which is part of hormonal health. You don't want to overdivide, but it's like you have health, hormonal health, you have respiratory health, you have brain health. So part of health is your hormonal health. And I've been teaching this for a long time. It's like, why are you gay? Okay, Gregory said, if you're watching this. Ricky or something like this. Okay. I said, why? Okay. Why power outage? Why? He said, that's time there was a power outage. I'm like, why? Why power outage? Why now? Understand? He said, I got a bad knee, it's getting dark, and it's a power outage on top of it. And I'm like, I'm mad as hell. And it's like, come on now, okay? Come on now, okay? Ooga looga or something like this. And it's like that got me hyped up. And I just decided I was gonna go or like some kind of river that. So it comes back. And I'm like, the power of the brightness has returned on us. The electricity is back. So it's a point. So yeah, but let's get this. So yeah, don't want to overdivide. That's a joke. Okay, you don't want to overdivide. I'm not gonna get into like too much that people. I'm cracking jokes. Somebody's gonna be offended, even if I let know I'm just cracking jokes. There's gotta be something offending you, okay? So I agree with people with the autism also first. I got autism. So that's the point. My body said if you can go back to being ectomorph from ectomorph. You can progress towards your fitness goals. Unless they're hyper niche. Okay, you can make serious progress if you set realistic goals and work towards them. So if your goal is to get bigger biceps, starting out being fat, you can grow your biceps as a fat person. And now if you go unrealistic, as a natural guy who's been fat and not exercising a lot the last 6 years, getting added like 11 inches to your biceps in less than 6 months and stuff like this. There's like good luck with that. And it's like that's not how I recommend. So if you're realistic with your goals, so the goal should be challenging but attainable. So they shouldn't be too easy. The goals should be challenging. Ultimately, good goals are challenging but attainable. You don't want to and then that's not good for you. So set realistic goals, realistic but challenging. Because if I just say set realistic, it means like easy, the bar low. But set a bar where you can hit the bar, but it's not so high that it's impossible, but it's not so low that it's not challenging. So don't progress by chasing the goal. And it's like you're never gonna get there, okay? So whatever his fitness goals are no matter what the body type, if you want to get to this or that, it doesn't really matter. People can progress towards their health fitness goals no matter what the start point is. 99% of the time. If you're getting a wheelchair, that amputee and fitness goals is to grow out legs by mind power and become a marathon runner. It's like that. Now that this limits, okay, but we're not talking about the freak like weirdo linguistic time play examples or something, semantics. We're talking about like real stuff here. So he can progress towards his fitness goals. Simple answer. He can make progress towards his fitness goals if his goals are realistic. No matter if his starting point is being obese, if his starting point is being real thin, if his build is short and stocky or like a tall, lanky build. It doesn't matter what he starts out at. He can progress towards his fitness goals. So why is it that some people have a hard time losing weight? And for me, I don't feel like it's been hard for me to stay with a six-pack. So I think it's more impressive. Some people boast about before and after, fat to skinny. I think it's more impressive to be a person that has never let themselves go and been elusive intense enough for 6 years to get fat. And then they had to have walking touch music come out and start running. And now it is impressive to be a person that somehow turns life around. And you don't like, I went into being elusive and then stay elusive forever. And that's the end of you. Like, okay. Nice point. Let's get to brass tacks here. So let's get to brass tacks here. why are so many men obese fat? And what can you do to make yourself lose fat quick if that's what you want? Raise your testosterone level naturally. And I've been teaching that for a long time, teaching people the truth on why a lot of men have dead bodies in the 20th and 30s now, and why a lot of people have a hard time meeting fitness goals, be it to build muscle or burn fat. And the common one is just to burn fat, to lose fat. In men and women, the most common fitness goal is to lose fat, especially belly fat. Okay, so to lose fat is the most common health fitness goal people are looking for. Middle-aged people, because it's common to be fat, is that people are looking to lose fat more so than building muscle. A lot of people. So there's a connection between low testosterone in men and fat. So if testosterone goes down, you can count on body fat going up, especially in the belly area. Okay, so how does the average person live their life that makes them end up being obese? In a way that, if you know what I know, like how to lower testosterone. Adipose tissue collection in the belly region is a single point visual indicator of testosterone levels having declined from a previous level. Which means if a person used to have a flat stomach, cut to 3 years later, they have a big beer belly, that shows that they have lower T to 99% certainty than when they didn't have beer belly. It doesn't prove that they have such low T they're going to die and need to get some syringes from the doctors for this, but it shows that the testosterone levels have declined. It's an indication of that. They're like chicken and egg. So you get belly fat, testosterone goes down, you get belly fat, okay? So it hasn't been hard for me to achieve and maintain this physique, really. It's been like hardness, but the hard stuff I've been doing hasn't really been needed, all of it. Like training hard and stuff. It's just I end up naturally living the way that I naturally end up living, end up being in good shape, okay? So what is my lifestyle like? I do fasting. I fast more than 16 hours per day. 20 plus hours per day, I do almost fasting. I eat a low sugar diet. I take supplements, okay? A lot of supplements. A lot of different supplements, a lot of the ones that I'm taking, okay? And you could call that pro-testosterone, pro-fitness. So the average man, Sweden, American, live a life that me know what I know, understanding health fitness for real, is like they're doing all these things to attack the testosterone. And for women, the same lifestyle will be unhealthy for you. It's like they're eating a high sugar diet, sugar loads with testosterone. They're having exposure to all these toxic chemical and home cleaning products. As a rule of thumb, if it's fragrance perfumed, and it's a common thing that most people buy this type of stuff, you can count it being poison as a rule of thumb. If it's perfumed, it's poison as far as I'm concerned. Softener, perfumed fragrance, bad for you. Okay. Shampoo, shower gel, all these different ingredients and perfume and scents, bad for you. So if it's a common man's hiding home cleaning chemical, what most people use, countertop cleaner, air freshener, and cologne, all this stuff, you can count on being bad for your health, okay? And contain a lot of ingredients that are not good. So I got a protocol, it's basically cut down on the sugar. And men getting on this protocol, they'll be surprised you can feel as if your testosterone levels is increasing. Cut down on the sugar, aim to stay below 20 grams of sugar per day. Detox life generally. Replace as many of these toxic chemical and non-clean parts as possible with natural alternatives. And 3, take some supplements. And there's like a list of recommended supplements I recommend all humans also take. It will be vitamin C, magnesium, vitamin D3 and K2, niacinamide, B complex, omega-3 fish oil. And if I forgot something, it's like no biggie. So he is so sick, so he can't exercise. So before I got to that comment, that kind of changes the answer, okay? So I was like kind of hyper focus on one comment. So I would recommend somebody that is sick. I would recommend, just start exercising. If somebody is sick, just start exercising. You should address the health problem first. He shouldn't exert himself even more. If somebody's fat and sick, the immune system is compromised. If somebody is sick, they got a cold or the flu, the immune system is compromised and like weakened and taxed right now, And exercise I recommend them. So what I would recommend for a person like that, in such a case, that is like the patient is fat, obese, tired, sick and tired. It's like before you get into exercising hard, like exercising, other like daily activities, walking around and stuff, okay, you need to go walk somewhere. I would recommend you start exercising really seriously until you address your health. Okay, supplementation, vitamin C, vitamin D3. Like my supplement protocol, I recommend, like if you're a human adult, here's my take. I think all human adults should take these supplements every day. And yeah, so I don't recommend people are sick to exercise. I would recommend if you're sick, depends on what type of sick is. But if somebody's like they got a cold or they feel like they're tired, it's like, yeah, I think I got a cold and I feel kind of run down. So it's like, here's the point. It depends. What I would say is, if somebody's sick, I don't recommend them to train hard, to start exercising. The focus would be to get healthier, okay? To work with diet, nutrition, supplementation, to get more energy, to get healthier. And if you get healthy, your energy levels will go up and it'll be easier for you to exercise. So the starting point would be work to get the person healthy before they start exerting themselves extra. With just dieting, what you can do with just dieting, well, you can make some change with just dieting. But if you take my advice and you get healthy, you raise that person's testosterone, just diet, nutrition, and maintain a normal life. Being a person that gets up out of bed, that has to sit up, go to the bathroom, sit down, walk to the store and buy something type of stuff. It's like you can have some muscle building if you have low T right now and you raise your T, you can have some muscle growth just from keeping the same lifestyle activity level. If your testosterone goes up, a person doesn't exercise at all, but it's like they're moving around, okay? And right now they have this much muscle and they have low T, let's say, which a lot of guys do. If you raise the testosterone of the same daily activity level, you can expect to see some muscle growth. So it's possible to make a lot of things happen with simple diet and supplementation changes. Which why when you hear my protocol when I'm teaching health fitness, which I get in typically, I share like a protocol I have, sleep protocol. You don't hear me say exercise, that's not part of protocol. Like pro health fitness protocol. And I don't even mention exercising in it. So if I'm teaching people how to be stronger, feel healthier, I don't even include exercising in it. Like the major thing is push yourself less every day. Before we get into talk about exercising, push yourself less every day. Eat less sugar. Detox your life. Remove as many unnecessary toxic chemical hydrogen home cleaning products as much as possible. Replace as many of your hygiene home cleaning products with like chemical laden, which most people use, with a more natural alternative such as natural apple soap. And that's a type, not a brand. So I wrote Joda Bakesworth looking hench. Thanks. Yes. It depends what I mean by hench. People mean different things with words, but if hench means huge, I wouldn't agree, but I do look good. Thank you so much. That was extremely helpful. Thank you as well. Well, thank you. Okay, now so I see it looks like people might have dropped out, so no problem, you're welcome. And you can feel free as long as you don't become a person trolling me, attacking me, rub it the wrong way. As long as we get along, we can get to answer this question. If we stop getting along, and I see a comment from you, it's like, yeah, I block people. So I don't care if I get along with somebody initially. If they start, like they turn on me, they flip and they start getting talks all of a sudden, they lose their privileges, like communicating with privilege and having me answer the questions, really. But I haven't had any problems with you, and I feel like you're a person that is able to conduct yourself decently and not really push my buttons. So you're welcome to come. You're welcome, and you're welcome to come back and try to talk again. So if you have the chat open, you can ask questions in the chat. You can try leaving comments on my videos, and I might address this topic, even if you don't ask anything more. I might be talking about this topic again anyway. So you're welcome. Now let's check on the food here. I don't know if you can see that, the paint face there. But it was steam. So I got a lid here. I got a lid here. And that's how I like to handle. When I lifted it, this was hot steam coming in. Now it wasn't like that burning, not even left one. It's the food, turn the lid off. Speak of natural alcohol, which I recommend especially to men looking to have as high testosterone as possible. The solution. So basically, keep it simple here. And I'm overcompressing, spend too much time talking about educating you. If you're looking to burn fat, build muscle, I can teach you things that can help you to see a natural increase in testosterone level, which makes it easier to burn fat and build muscle. Because if testosterone goes down, the body wants to put on fat, it's not put on fat. And if testosterone goes up, it can lead to more easy fat loss. So a big part of my coaching, and the beauty of it is like the protocol, fitness protocol. The same protocol is not like one for women, one for men. Like the protocol I teach, the max full testosterone fitness protocol. If you get on that protocol, women can expect that you be healthier. If you're a human, you'll be healthier. Part of health is hormonal health. So men have a lot of things that attack their hormonal health, resulting in low testosterone, lower than it should be. It's like the average man is low with T. And maybe the average man has 15, maybe the average man is 20s. It's ranged from between 5% and 25% lower testosterone what's natural in that age bracket. And maybe I got, I'm not saying I got the peak, I didn't check it, but maybe I got 3% lower than what I should have. And the average guy has 27% lower than he should have. See, it's like here's the natural level, and the average guy might have 27% lower T than he should. Maybe have 3% lower than he should, something like this. So you don't have to have everything be at the perfect level to see some improvement. You don't have to have a perfect diet and eat perfect clean food to see some health improvement. A little something can be a lot better than nothing. So I've had a day today. It's like I've been out of some supplements, and this is kind of raw content, so it's valuable to talk about it. So I rely on supplementation. I have ADHD and autism, and unlike a lot of people with these issues, I'm not a big fan of drugs. I'm not on antidepressants. I'm not on anti-anxiety medications. I'm not on anything. I do make a lot of supplements, which means I use supplements to help me. And meaning when I was at the doctor, I told them that. When I saw a doctor, I take a bunch of supplements, and I take this ashwagandha, and so I take vitamins, and okay. So anyway, that's the point. When I did go to the psych ward, I got put in the psych, I got swatted, put in the psych ward. And after seeing a doctor there, who I felt like was treating me with decency and respect and like a human, which is always something to work with, okay. He did prescribe me some kind of over-the-counter, not narcotic, nothing used recreationally, like antihistamines or beta blocks or something like this. That class or something. He prescribed me something. It's like light to help me fall asleep, because sometimes I have problems. It's like I can't fall asleep for 2 days. I've been up for like 2 or 3 days, and that can lead to going nuts. Okay, so. He sent me home with some like emergency, and I kind of said, yeah. He's like, if this happens again, that you can't sleep for several days, like 2 nights, you've been up for 2 days straight. It's like you can take these to help fall asleep. I went, yeah, but how I've been treating them is I don't even take them on a weekly basis. The supplements enough to help me to calm down, help to fall asleep all times. Magnesium, ashwagandha, things like this. So anyway, it kind of, I'm an open book, see, and transparency breeds honesty. Where it's like, I'm open with what I do, what I don't do, within limits. Okay, I don't have to tell what color my underwear or something like this. So here's the point. Yeah, so supplements are so powerful,
And since I got the supplementation locked in and dialed in, and that's been a process, where it's like getting the base of starting to mega dose as opposed to microdose, which a lot of people do. Vitamin C, taking serious amounts of vitamin C, multi-gram amount per person vitamin C per day. That made a huge difference. When I added liposomal vitamin C, another form of vitamin C to it, that was a game changer too. It would be like 75% improvement in my mental physical health from like daily vitamin C supplementation, the way that I do it. It's like an additional 25% or something like this. Basically, I don't have to put percent on it, but supplementation vitamin C is like the base. See? That's the base. So it's like starting, one of the first thing I really started measuring is vitamin C. Okay. Later on, it's like I add another supplement to my protocol regime. And I'm not rich, okay, so they can be prioritizing and what do I spend on, what not. You gotta put your powder where it does the most. So, vitamin C and then ashwagandha, added ashwagandha in serious amounts of regime, optimize the dose, titrate to effect is what I call it, which means it's like that. I started taking ashwagandha, get ashwagandha, I found out that, okay, it has, let's say 200 milligrams ashwagandha per capsule. Start by taking, and let's say it says take, it says start out taking one a day for a week or something like this. And so I feel a little bit of improvement. Looking back, means introspective, it's like, yeah, it's like a week I start taking this, added this new supplement, now we're talking years back, adding ashwagandha. Like adding a little bit of ashwagandha, feel a little bit calmer, less anxious, and feel a little bit better. Okay. And now I'm going up to, but still a lot of anxiety and tension. So go from one a day to two a day, okay? And after a week of that, it's like, well, I feel a bit better, but not a lot. Okay, add one more ashwagandha. Kind of like that, not exactly like that, but kind of building up, taking ashwagandha with limits to a point where it's like, oh, I hit the sweet spot. This much ashwagandha, I really notice the difference is I'm taking these many milligrams ashwagandha per day. Okay. And it's like adding niacinamide. And personally, I take 3+ grams of niacinamide, vitamin B3 per day. 1 to 3 B complex tabs, not less than 1. Okay. I take around 3 B complex tabs per day. Magnesium, 500 milligrams plus. And with that, I adjusted those, titrated up to effect, where I started out maybe getting 500-600 milligrams of magnesium per day. And I saw this funny head guy saying his recommendation as an MD doctor was, in a certain teaching course I was watching, multi-gram amounts of magnesium. So this MD was teaching a YouTube video. It's like magnesium, as far as I'm concerned, multi-gram amounts of magnesium. So like I was starting kind of low, and it's like I adjusted. Okay, let's try out going 1,000+ milligrams of magnesium. It's like I noticed sure enough it just make me feel even better than taking 500. And now I'm at kind of dialed it in, so I'm getting not less as a bare minimum, not less than a gram vitamin C, so magnesium. So my bare minimum of vitamin C per day is 1,000 milligrams personally. Now when I share what I'm doing, the types of supplements, don't take it as a recommendation. Okay, so I could go out and drink 9 liters of water because I'm sweating so much a day. For a little petite woman watching this video who's not sweating a lot, there might be way too much water. Okay, so you have to understand that people's individual needs. There's no fixed amount where people might think complex and go, how much vitamin C does a person need per day? And people know what to talk about, like me or Tom Lee or somebody else. I'm not going to tell you a specific number, set number. Like how much vitamin C does a person need a day? And give you an answer that is the right amount for every person listening. People who have competence on what to talk about, like me, are going to tell you not less than a month. A human adult is going to need at least this much, aka not less. See? There's nobody that's a human adult that's going to need less vitamin C than this per day. Okay? And this much, I like to give the 6 gram number when teaching, which is enough to make a serious difference for every person, but not so much that anybody would have like stomach upset from it, like serious stomach upset. So
people with individual needs. And here's the thing: if you're interested in like learning about biohacking or human optimization, vitamin C and dosages and finding the optimal amount of certain vitamins, as a research part, you can search vitamin C titration to bowel tolerance or cascade titration bowel tolerance protocol. So titration, Titration, titration to bowel tolerance with vitamin C. And it's like a method to kind of diagnose vitamin C amount for a person. So I have ADHD and autism. Unlike a lot of people, I'm not on ADHD meds or antidepressants. And also, for disclosure, for many years I was on antidepressants. As a young adult, around 18 years old, something 19, I got put on antidepressants. And not against my will, okay. I was depressed, I didn't know what I know now. I wish I knew better. I mean, today I would have tried niacinamide, extra exercising, vitamin C, and this and that. But it's like I was severely depressed and had a lot of anxiety and stuff, so went to talk therapy and that didn't help that much, and I went to medication, and I got prescribed SSRIs. And just like titrating to a certain dose, because I have to end up being on 150 milligrams of sertraline per day, prescribed by doctor. 150 milligrams of sertraline per day for 8+ years before I got off them. And I've been off them for a long time now, but I'm not going back. I'm not depressed. So, here's some success too. Telling you about the successes. So I've had severe depression, anxiety, and been put on antidepressants. Quit them many years ago, not depressed. I've cured myself of panic attacks, meaning I was suffering from panic attacks for many years, and it wouldn't be a month really without having at least one panic attack. So for many years I was a person suffering panic attacks and extreme anxiety daily. And we can get into talk about CPTSD and yada yada and stuff, but like anxiety, okay. So anxiety can be part of this, anxiety and panic attacks. So my baseline stress level on a daily basis would be super anxious. It's like the baseline would be like, now I have several minutes per day of not having a lot of anxiety. Whereas it used to be the baseline was waking up, having high cortisol. Here's another thing I can teach you. Stress. What is stress? What is anxiety? Anxiety is stress, okay? Anger is stress. Anxiety is a physiological state. It's not a ghost in your head, okay? It's not a choice necessarily, like right in the moment to be anxious. You can have anxiety from being deficient in vitamins, okay? You can have anxiety from having brain inflammation. So some people don't know what to talk about, like preachers. I discussed about it. They were like, if you have anxiety out there, it's you're not trusting God enough for this. And like, if you're a person that has low competence, not CrossFit competence like myself, who's got doctoral theology knowledge and anthropology, psychology, subsection, crim psych, and orthomolecular medicine, and all these things have work with degree of competences. If all the tool you have, only tool is a hammer, every problem becomes forced to be a nail all of a sudden. It's like, I'm a preacher, I know nothing about other things. I never learned about vitamins or medicine. I never heard about Abraham Hoffer, okay, Canadian psychiatrist. Abraham Hoffer. What has Abraham, the one of the fathers of the medicine found? Okay, so that's important. So it's like that discussion too. So preacher will go and kind of blame the victim. It's like I've heard it sometimes. It's like if you're having anxiety, that's a sin because you're not trusting God enough. Some place the preacher says. It's like, no, I know what I'm talking about. Which means is it possible to induce an anxiety state by ideation, willful ideation? It's like if I decided to, I was hell bent to feel scared. Could I make myself feel scared and anxious? Yes. By if like sit and like visualize ideation. think about, is it possible to have anxiety, the state anxiety, in the absence of anxious ideation inducing it? Yes, meaning it's possible to be anxious and tense and nervous and stressed without being a person that's thinking something causing it, okay? You don't have to be like, wow, if you're anxious, that means that you're worrying about things, for example. No, you can be a person that you can, in some cases, have anxiety because you're like a grandma or somebody is, and she watches the night news, and it's like the Russians, it's World War III around the corner, and she lays down a bed here on pulse in the zero or something like this, and it's like, yeah, the nukes might be coming in a minute now. It's like, what if I die? It's gonna be war. What am I gonna do? Be an old lady in the forest. It's like, I'm not young anymore, and worry about the World War III or the prices going up or something like this, the economy, and end up getting anxious. Okay. Yes, it's possible to induce state anxiety by willful rumination, ideation, inducing and maintaining that. It's also possible to be a person that, in the absence of anxious ideation, you could call it, like paying attention to negative news, thinking about bad things that might happen, etc., etc. Without that, in the absence of that, still being in a state and act. Like if you're a Buddhist monk, you have a blank mind, not thinking about anything, you're just like focusing on your breathing or something like this, or staring at the wall. It's possible to still have anxiousness and tension. Okay. What are some things? So what is anxiety and stress? Understanding awareness is the key to doing call it therapeutics of anything. So coming from a guy who killed myself with panic attacks myself. So what is stress? What is anxiety? Anxiety is a form of stress. Anger is stress. What is anxiety? Stress. What is anxiety? Stress. What is anxiety? It is a biological, physiological state marked by what? High cortisol, adrenaline, increased heart rate above resting heart rate, and increased blood pressure. So anxiety is not a ghost in the person's head that some voodoo witch doctor, exorcist, had to talk out of their head. It's like, I'm working to expel the feel of anxiety out of your brain by just talking it out of you, something like this. But anxiety is a physiological state, okay? It's high cortisol, the stress hormone. So if you're anxious, that means you have high cortisol, the stress hormone. If you are anxious, you have high adrenaline than a person that's not anxious. If you're anxious, you have high blood pressure than a person that's not anxious. If you're anxious, you have a higher heart rate than somebody that's not anxious. Okay? And the same things apply to other stress states such as anger. Okay? So, what have I learned? With the right motivation, not look at like, oh, need to talk about my childhood and figure out where the anxiety is hiding in something. And I'm not making fun of that. Therapy can help some people. But what I'm saying, what worked for me was not looking at it as some people do. It was like, my anxiety has to be hiding somewhere in the room I got to talk about it. It's like, what helped me really improve mentally and psychologically and deal with my health problems was look at it coldly as like physical, see. Just understand like stress, it's high cortisol, high adrenaline, and then learn, oh, here are ways you can lower cortisol. Vitamin C. So remember, if you have anxiety, really anxious, you have high cortisol. And then I learned vitamin C lowers cortisol, the stress hormone. You can Google this yourself. Back it up. Google search Psychology Today vitamin C stress buster. And you find an article there. Vitamin C were administered study lowers cortisol. The people reported to be less calm. Vitamin C lowers cortisol. Ashwagandha is not a therapeutic agent that can lower cortisol. Ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen that lowers cortisol, the stress hormone. Now you need therapeutic amounts to have therapeutic effect. Some people foolishly attempt to have health fitness improvement. They do not foolishly seek to achieve therapeutic effects from sub-therapeutic amounts of vitamins and supplements. Do you understand? So if I go to the dentist, and the dentist goes, you got pain, something like this, it's like, you should take an ibuprofen if you feel like it. If a doctor prescribes it, you should take an ibuprofen. Okay? And ibuprofen. Okay? 400 milligrams, let's say they say. If a doctor would say that, okay, Mike, you got pain, take an ibuprofen, 400 milligrams. when they come home. Tabloid inflammation, the swelling, and the pain. And if I go home and it's like the ibuprofen, I take one, and that's the doctor going for therapeutic effect, 400 milligrams is needed, okay? And I go and get a razor blade cut off like a 3 milligram size of it, and take that. And I go back and complain, ibuprofen doesn't help with pain, doctor. Okay, you're wrong. It's like, yeah, ibuprofen can do this stuff, but it doesn't help. I took ibuprofen, I didn't feel better. It's like, well, how much did it take? Well, it's like, third of ibuprofen. Well, I told her to take ibuprofen 400 milligrams. So the same pharmacological, like allopathic, and I have a joke, that's the allopathic medicine system. And here's the thing, Abraham Hoffa said, and I agree with him to some extent, that the mainstream medicine system, which I have been relying on for my mental health really permanently, I've been doctoring myself, taking care of my own self, like therapeutic stuff. But what they do well is horizontal medicine, he says. I agree with that. And what I mean by horizontal medicine, he would say like this, the vertical medicine, they're not that good at that. But they shout at the horizontal medicine, which would be what? It's like you arrive in a stretcher or in a car accident. Or it's like you're shot or stabbed or have a car accident, and there's an ambulance comes, put you on a stretcher, and drive to a hospital. It's like they're good at that. Okay, so they're good at wound care, at stitching you up, stopping bleeding. Okay, saving human lives in like serious situations. If somebody's bleeding, they're good at stopping the bleeding. They can be very good at that. They can be good at stabilizing. They can be good at like fixing broken bone, stitching you up, extracting from objects from the body. If somebody's getting shot by a bullet, to stop the bleeding, remove the bullet if needed, stitch up, and all these things. Like at crisis is like real problems. They shine at that, but they're not necessarily the best at vertical medicine. So it's like a person is walking around and like decent, but it's like they're having issues. So here's another thing too. I speak of vertical medicine, commonly correlating in my experience and research with mental health problems is being ambulatory. I speak words. That being pacing and things like this. So it's like people that have autism and stress. It's like pacing, and people get on their feet. So if you're super stressed, human beings, and mental health crisis and problems correlated with that is stress. Okay, being in a stress state. So a person's got a psychosis, they're gonna be super stressed. There's nobody's like always got a psychosis and is calm, cool as a cucumber. Okay, which is why part of the therapeutics that they do in psychiatry will be to calm the person down. So you don't find a person being locked in a psych ward for like paranoid schizophrenia or psychosis that's like a right cool as a cucumber and stay that way. Because true mental illness to a point where it's like a crisis is always like it's gonna correlate with stress, understand? If somebody's hearing voices, seeing demons, and it's like the whole world is spinning, they're not gonna be like calm all the time. It's like they're gonna be worked up and stressed and like more panicky, okay? And more likely. So basically, people that have mental health problems, stress, a lot of stress, a lot of times they get on their feet and be pacing and walking and things like this. Because you're more likely to sit down if you calm or lay down. Whereas if people are really not well right now mentally, a lot of times people get physically active. Okay. So here's the point. What's that point here? Yeah, so I've had great success in improving my own mental health, taking matters into my own hands, meaning taking my mental health into my own hands, anxiety and depression, things like this. But it's taken a lot of work. It's taken a lot of work, okay? And having discipline and putting the work. Putting the work to research and find the truth on supplements and how much a person needs and what are the most important ones, so on and so forth. And it's taken work to apply it. It's taken work to consistently like build habits, okay? To take supplements, right type of amount, the dose frequency, everything, getting everything like dialed in. And yeah, so I've seen great improvement. So a corollary example would be what I said. I used to suffer from panic attacks for years. It's like I would have panic attacks at least one a month. Sometimes like 3 in a month. So I would have panic attacks after that. And cured myself from that. So it's been that's a legit cure, meaning there wouldn't be a month without a panic attack. For like years on end, panic attacks here and there. Again and again. To at least 3 years now without one panic attack. That's complete cessation as a cure. It's not improvement. The improvement is like, well, I used to have panic attacks on a weekly basis, now it's on a monthly. There'll be improvement. Cure is like you used to suffer from panic attacks, you never get them anymore. So, yeah, so what I start talking about here is, around this time of month, I'm not rich, I'm on disability. So one of the beauties of that is if you hear me talk about, you can, coaching protocols. And I'm recommending water filtration, I'm recommending this supplement, that supplement. It's not pie in the sky where it's like I'm rich, it's like, oh, people should take this to be as healthy as I am, or as rich with a six-pack for this. And it's like, oh, but Mike is rich and I'm low income. No, it's like, this is on a budget. So everything I've accomplished, achieved, maintained the physique that I have, and improvement in mental physical health has been on a budget. Because I'm on disability. And they don't pay like a prince, they pay like a pauper more so, or a pirate. So, basically, my coaching is achieved on a budget. So I'm the king of attainable. Okay, I'm the king of attainable. It's not like Bernard saw you need to buy Manuka honey to have the belly. He makes a video to lose belly fat. And it's got Manuka honey or something like this. And I go Google Amazon and cheap Manuka honey. It's $49 for a small jar or something like this. And it's not really investment return ratio. It's gonna be that powerful. Okay, so that's the point. Yeah, so if you hear me talk about supplements recommended, it sounds like a lot. Well, remember that I'm able to take all the supplements I recommend on a budget. Now, being low income on disability, and I got even less money recently, being on low income disability means that I have to be wiser than what comes naturally with my finances. And here comes also issues, inhibition, impulse control, and planning out purchases. So this is something that I'm not like maxed out on that. Okay. So it's like I've learned how to save money here and there. Okay. Spend less money on this, that. Spend less money on clothes. It's like I prioritize supplementation. So save money on not buying clothes as much as I might otherwise. So I have money for supplements. Also the OMAD fasting, which the primary reason is not to save money, but as a welcome side effect, the OMAD fasting, eating 1 time per day rather than 3, pays for about a third of the monthly supplements. So normal people overeat is the most common problem. The most common problem is overeating, okay? And you look at a person who doesn't overeat, okay? So overeating is the most common problem. And so it's like I understand my psychology. It's like what I understand is like the behaviors of classes starts to be like, I'm looking for like a hook, like a latch, to be like Mike is not superior in his character, and that's what's responsible for the physique that provokes narcissistic injury in me. And like I wanted to be like Mike, yeah, it's like you're in great shape if it gets undeniable. A lot of times you'll be like denying, like you're not in good shape. The gaslighting will be like, well, you do have a 6-pack, it's like undeniable. But it's like, oh, your diet is just being poor, not eating too little. No, I'm eating not too much, okay? So I didn't get on OMAD fasting for economics alone, but that's like a welcome side effect. What does OMAD fasting do for me? Eating 1 time per day rather than 3 or 4. saves me time, saves me money, saves my digestive system. It saves me a lot of stuff. Okay, and I spend less money on food. Maybe a third as much on food per month as the average man. Okay, so the fasting is primarily for mental, physical health. Okay, and that's spiritual too. It's a part of my spiritual growth in learning to overcome urges and control my impulses. Because if you learn, it's part of my coaching too. If you're a Christian, a lot of Christian men are struggling with that porn addiction. They're watching porn all the time. What is that? It's like a hunger. It's a feeling that people have like a draw. They feel drawn to go to the laptop and click and do something that makes you feel a certain way. Okay. Now, if you can learn to control your eating, that can help you to learn to control other areas of your life. You can learn to control what you eat. You can learn to control what you watch. If you learn to be able to control what you eat and say no to the feeling of hunger, you can learn to say no to the feeling of horniness to watch porn. Okay. So fasting is something that can help. It's not just for your finances. It helped me a lot. My finances, my mental health, my physical health, and I'd say my spiritual health. So it's not if a lost person is doing fasting, it makes it spiritual. But if you are a Christian and want to grow as a Christian, a simple pragmatic, not like this woo-woo mystical, just rest in Jesus, that's the solution. Just rest in Jesus, mystical woo-woo. That is my quality coaching, okay? It's like, if you're struggling with porn, just rest in Jesus. Okay, what do you do, Mark? I'm resting in Jesus, okay? So it's like, okay, so it's like if you're saved, you've entered into the rest, okay? Which means you've ceased working, which basically rest in Jesus. I'm not trying to get saved or stay saved by my activities, okay? So check that box no matter what I'm doing, because I'm never trying to like keep myself safe with how I'm living or prevent salvific loss, because it's not an option. So resting in Jesus, as far as I'm concerned, the application is I've been saved, I've entered into that rest, trusted the gospel, which means I've entered into the rest, okay, the faith rest, which means I'm not having like a law mentality where I'm trying to please God for salvation. I'd be good enough to work all the time to make sure I don't go to hell or something like this. It's like I've trusted the gospel, and there's no works I have to do to make sure I go to heaven now. That matter has been issued. That there's going to be works in your walk. So you should do works. Okay, you should do works. But even if you don't, you're the biggest lazy bum Christian ever, you're still going to heaven. Okay, if you have trusted the gospel, you're a Christian. So here's the point. Fasting is highly recommendable as in a certain way, and I'm not recommending wholesale because like some people have diabetes and some people are anorectic and they don't need the advice to fast, okay? They're gonna be specific, so it's like this person needs to eat more. Now, diabetics might need to ingest food as part of what they do to regulate the blood sugar, okay? So, they have insulin for, I guess I'm not an expert, I think they use the insulin to bring it down and eating to bring it up or something. I'm not sure. But here's the point. Um, so, here's the point. We turn on the heat. One of the most common mistakes that people make while cooking, according to Marco Pierre White, is overcooking the food. And I would agree with him. Okay. And most of the time, if I like, oh, this, I failed the cooking, the failure, they made me realize that I failed the cooking was overcooking it. Okay. Now, here's the point too. I'd rather overcook than undercook meats due to parasites, especially if it's pork. I'd rather burn pork to a crisp than having undercooked, because pork is a parasite carrier, trichinosis. And I have a joke here, it's kind of weird, you get ready for it, okay? It's a bill, it's going to be very funny joke, but get ready for that. The ball här. But I got another quirky joke, it's pretty cute. So, and I want my client to be succeeding me. So, yeah, so pork is a trichinosis host carrier, which means consuming undercooked pork is riskier than consuming undercooked meats. Okay, so there's a parasite that pork carries that's called trichinosis, and it's got something that can get in your brain and it can wreck you. It can get in your brain and it can wreck you in all kinds of ways. It can be fatal getting this infection. So, and sometimes if you have parasite infections, the way you notice is on the bathroom, and you look and you notice that there's worms in there, and that's from trichinosis, because it's just like you gain knowledge that you got there's a trichinosis right there. It's like, oh, I just gained the knowledge that I have parasite infection, okay, and it so he said, well, that came out myself. Yeah, that's pretty good, okay. I'm ready. I've been training to be a dad. Okay, I got the jokes ready. I'm ready to be a father. I got the dad jokes. I got everything. So I don't have a dad bod though. Now, you don't need one. Okay, it's like you don't need the dad bod so you have to be a dad. You might end up getting one, but it's like you don't need one. So here's another one. There's something called toxoplasmosis, another parasite. Now we're getting into I was thinking Mike is an arrogant, prideful guy because he seems to think that he's got high value and competence. He's got the confidence. He seems to think that he's not worthless. Like, what I tell myself. I've heard it says he's got CrossFit competence and he knows some stuff. So yes. So here's the point. Here's the point. But here's another parasitology now. Okay. So there's a parasite called toxoplasmosis would be, I guess, being infected with it. And supposedly, it's supposed to have the effect of making the person more risk-seeking and less risk-averse. So if you got a toxoplasmosis infection, like the crazy cat lady, and you can get infected by with cats, it's supposed to make you more risk-seeking, so far it can affect your behavior. And some extreme sports, like statistically, from what I've heard it claimed alleged that people like extreme sports people, like skydivers or mountain climbers or race car drivers, they're more likely to have a toxoplasmosis infection than people who don't. Now, how could you make sense of it? Is it possible that maybe they're more likely to take risks and be like more bold, and that's what gets them infected? They're the type of person, if they see a stray cat in the street, they're more likely to walk up and pet it. And people are more timid in temperament unless actually pets strange cats they come across. We're gonna try to. So anyway, it's important. Correlation does not always equal causation. Correlation and causation are all the same thing. So anyway, it's important. I'd like to take this moment to thank God for another day. To thank God for another day. All give thanks unto the Lord for His good, for His mercy endureth forever. So thank God for another day. I have food, clothing. I'm alive, which is always a benefit because you can't get things done in the grave. So if you're dead, you can't get things done down here on earth. If you're dead, you can't get things done. So there's no work in the grave with the things. Vanta vanta, said the preacher, all is vanity. Vanta vanta, said the preacher, all is vanity. Now here's the point. Ecclesiastes. Job, okay. I talked about this before. So Job, okay. Job, let's talk about Job a little bit in the Bible. Book of Job. Job was who? A righteous man. And Job, well, I cut to the chase. Job is a type of Christ, a foreshadow of Christ. Why do I say that? Because Job suffered not for wickedness' sake, but for righteousness' sake. So he was a foreshadow of Christ. And it's like types of shadows, it's just like this all. So Samson was also a type of Christ foreshadow. And Jonah, in parts of what he was doing, was also foreshadowing Christ. Spending 3 days and 3 nights in God's belly. So it's like, who's not a type of Christ in the Old Testament is like a major figure, okay, in some way. So here's the point. It's got to be more obvious and intense ones, you could say, and others that are less intense and obvious. So Job is a type of Christ, was, okay? The question is, what is stopping and when, okay? So Job was a type of Christ. So who was Christ? A man suffering not for being evil, see? So Christ was crucified treated like a criminal, but not because he was a criminal and evil, but he was treated as if he was. Why? Because he suffered for righteousness' sake, for other people's sins. So it was because he was so righteous that he suffered to pay for other people's sins. Because a sinless sacrifice can't pay for another person's sins. No, only a sinless person can pay for other people's sins. A person having sins can pay for other people's sins. So you have to be sinless to pay for other people's sins. And only Christ Jesus is the only human that's up to par. We have to pay for other people's sins. Animals don't have a sin nature, which is why types of these in the Old Testament, like male sheep, the rams that were animals of sacrifice. Animals don't have a sin nature. So if an animal bleeds, it sheds sinless blood. See, if an animal bleeds, it sheds sinless blood. So that's a type of Christ. And it's another thing of the Old Testament. They would have rabbis inspect them, like natural types of spiritual, natural shadow. They would have rabbis like inspect, and I'm not expert in this, like the Jewish deal, but I know this. They would have like a guy, a Levitical priest, I guess, like a rabbi, that is for the sins of the whole year, a Jew. And remember, here's another thing. Some people teach wrongly, so let's address that. Some people teach that the Jews' sacrifice and works of the law were to save them, or part of the deal to get saved. Faith works in the Old Testament. Rob Brecker has been guilty of that heresy. When in reality, that was for the walk. See? So people err greatly and frequently by making things salvation issues. Bible verses like, oh, this is for salvation. They are not really teaching that. Rest in the scriptures as they do the other scripture, no destruction. Rest in the scriptures. So what are people doing when they go run to Romans 10? Whoso shall call the name of the Lord shall be saved, to justify sins in this prayer for salvation. They are resting in the scriptures, because the calling verse is not talking about getting saved spiritually. It's talking about calling, praying to be spared for physical destruction. So when I was in the psych ward thinking I might die in here, I was praying to God to make it out alive again. I'm calling for salvation for a potential impending doom negative outcome. So that's the type of calling. You're facing judgment, you're facing something. Another example would be like if you got a job and you hear that they're gonna lay off 25% of the workforce next season, you're like, oh, I got wife and kids, I can't afford to lose my job right now. That's like a negative outcome that's looming and potential. You're praying, God, I pray that I will not be one of the people being laid off. Okay, you're praying to be saved from joblessness and stuff like this. So a person getting cancer, a Christian, who prays to God to survive the cancer like 10 more years. The doctor says you got 1 year to live. They go, God, I pray you help me to survive the cancer and live 5 more years or something at least. They're praying to be saved from death by cancer, see? So that is the type of salvation that Romans 10 colon verses deal with. Whoso shall call on the Lord shall be saved. And how shall call on him who they have not believed? Your prayer life starts after being saved by faith. See, we know that God hates not sinners. So if you're doing prayers to get saved, you are a sinner praying. And the Bible teaches we know that God has not sinned. But if any man is, what does it say? A believer of God, a worshiper of God, and something him he heareth, something like this. So there's people, lost people are not, okay? Lost people can't count on God's answer to prayer. No, that God had not sinners. So prayer, having God on a hotline, which like you can pick up the phone and talk to God, and He says He'll hear you. That's a privilege of being a child of God, part of your birthright. Like to be like praying to God and having God hear you, your prayers. Now, let's talk a little bit more about that. What does it not mean? When you hear me say that, if you're lost, it doesn't mean there's like God, you can trick God, like, oh, my thoughts, I can think whatever sin I want, and God doesn't know, so it's like something. No, because God knows. God is omniscient. A lot of times, if you struggle with something, the fundamentals of God's character return to them. You square everything against that. So if somebody has a weird head, this is what helps you to protect it too. At least some people. To square everything, some new wind of doctrine that feels like it might be real, somebody's not sure. To check how it squares against known facts, clear expressed known facts about God's will. God is omniscient. He's omnipotent. He's omnipresent. The eyes of the Lord in every place behold the evil and the good. So God is aware of all things transpiring at all times. And his knowledge is so supra that he's aware of everything transpiring at all times in times past, present, and future. Which means he's aware of everything that I'm doing. And to give an example, you can't really explain God's character completely. It's like trying to make an analogy that is 100% accurate. You can't do it. So things that are alike or like unto another, but they're not the same. Things are different, not the same, but they can be similar. So, for example, God has a perspective of seeing through my eyes, okay? But God has awareness of every perspective if he desires to, which means God's awareness of me is not extended to like his viewpoint is like a third person game where God sees humans like ants. Like if I look at an anthill and it's like, oh, look at those small little ants because that's so far out or something like this. And it's zoom in and they get like a zoom lens yet or something like this, like a telescopic lens. And he's not locked into that perspective. So if there is something to know, God has knowledge of it if he wants to. God can accept self-imposed limitations. So there's like a silly question, can God make a rock so heavy he can't lift himself? Yes, if he would accept the self-imposed limitation. So Jesus Christ, when he was on earth, was human and had self-imposed limitations. Jesus was not Samson, that would have like sometimes be like a superhero, that everything was easy and was so strong he could like take a Volkswagen and like throw it to there or something like this. So Jesus Christ was a man that wasn't like the Hulk. Okay, he got married, he gets huge, stuff like this. Jesus Christ had supernatural miracle working power, but he was in his humanity. He was fully God and from at the same time, which means God cannot be hurt. Nobody can make God bleed or bruise him or something like this. The violent cannot take something by force if he doesn't learn. So that's the point. So where I go with this? Yeah, so God can make a rock so heavy he can lift himself. Because when Jesus walked on earth, it sort of happened. There'd be rocks and things that Jesus physically would be unable to lift. Jesus had to sleep. He needed to drink water. He could get dehydrated. He had to have all that he had a normal body. He was fully man. And if you deny things like this, you might get into the danger of having another Christ. If you like possible, so you could get saved. You don't have to be an expert in Christ to know everything there is to know about Jesus. You need to know he was sinless, the Son of God. You know he was God and man at the same time, fully God, fully man. And you need to understand what he accomplished at the cross, okay? You don't have to learn everything about Jesus to get saved, like all the miracles and how it worked and this and that. It's like what you need to know is the combination of his ministry. Who Jesus Christ was, like basic Christology facts to get saved. You need to know who Christ was and you need to know what he accomplished. Specifically, the finished work, the sin payment. That you need to know that. So anyway, here's the point. So yeah, there were rocks that were so heavy when Christ walked around that he physically was incapable of fulfilling them. Now, if the Godhead's will, Jesus, the Father, and the Holy Spirit, for some reason would be that Jesus would perform a miracle of great physical feat, like Samson. There's like one of the miracles would have been, for some reason, if they had that, it's like lift up a log, or like not a log, like it would be like 60 logs, or like a rock that people go, wow, it's like this is superhuman. Like throw a rock that's like 6 tons of this. That he will be able to rip, he will be able to work the miracle by faith, okay? He walked on water. Now, that was a faith miracle. And you can think about that, thought about that. Like, what's the nuts and bolts of how that carried out? When Jesus walked on water, was the supernatural effect that God made the water not absorb his body, like suspension of natural law. Like if you think about the physical part of it, when he walked on water, did was the miracle worked by Jesus achieving positive buoyancy. Where it's like Jesus' body by supernatural means became like a cork, okay, or more than that. Where it's like his body was now, it could float on any surface. The miracle was making him be weightless or something like this, and still have a body displacement. And to point, there's like there's lizards that God made, by the way. Okay, same God that works his miracles. There's lizard God made. They get running, starting momentum, and can skip on top of water. And they designed by God to be able to do this, to run on water. Lizards, a reptile, a snake, a serpent-like creature. Okay, so they're all creatures. This is zoology now. Christology meets zoology. So there's these lizards that can like run across water without sinking. Okay, now they're relying on momentum, and I would guess it's gonna be like how much surface area there is. That they're not gonna have super small. It's gonna have something. Maybe if they cap it and it scoops, and it's the momentum and the speed coupled with the lightness of the creature and all these factors that form momentum, everything together makes it be able to stay on top of the surface. Okay, like if you throw a rock doesn't float. So this is like, you want to feel like you can do magic. As a kid, I like to do it. You have like a flat rock in front of the beach, and you throw it. They form momentum and the flatness of the stone and the angle of attack, the trajectory, everything together like specifics. Okay, it's like it ricochets and it can like bounce on the water. Now, if you don't have the forward momentum and the right angle, you have the same rock on water, it just sinks. See, so it's the forward momentum and the angle of attack. Then all these different things. But here's the point. Okay, so here's the thing. Oof. So where's I going? Job. Okay. So the Job. Okay. He had a hard time. Okay. Job. 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 Okay. He had a hard time. Understand? It's like he had a hard work. Okay. So I want to get into the Job. So let's switch up and I'd like hit you with some quick facts. So I might take on Job, teach on Job a little bit. What are some things we can learn from the book of Job? And what are some of the like lessons conveyed and like the God started on the point? I would say a major one would be Job was a type of Christ, a foreshadow of Christ. Why? Because he suffered for righteousness' sake. So Job was before Christ, okay? Meaning in the physical, he was a human walking earth before Christ was. And we can get into Melchizedek and appearance of Christ. So that's a completely different talk. I don't feel ready to deal with that at this point. So here's the point. Okay, so Job was a foreshadow of Christ. Okay, Job was a foreshadow of Christ because in what way? This way and possible others, that he suffered for righteousness' sake, not for sins. So he didn't have all these bad things and being cursed happen to him, diseases, and have all these like curses and diseases and sufferings and all these things happen, bad things happen to him, because he was so bad and he got cursed and it's like reaping the wickedness of his own. No, it was because he was so good that he had these things happen to him. Now, what are some of the other applications that we can derive from reading the book of Job? What are some other applications that we can derive from the book of Job? That lessons for me as a Christian and you as a Christian. Job is a model responder. Like he's a model for the only God can suffer persecution. So Christians will have sufferings, okay, more or less, and some Christians will have extreme suffering. And Job is like a role model for the proper response, okay, ideal. See, the ideal, like how a man of God, Christian man, saved man, ought to respond to circumstances. Yet in all these things, God did not charge, Job did not charge God foolishly or something like this. So Job didn't start murmuring against the Lord. Like through all these sufferings and pains and negative things happening to him, the suffering and the pain and the hardship, he never got mad at God and blamed God for what was happening, really. He didn't like curse God or murmur against him or get mad at God or like anything like this. Job was an example of how a Christian ought to respond. There's other lessons like in Job how to deal like the idea of how to respond to persecution and suffering as a Christian, where he's like a guy that is like if a Christian has one big problem right now, Job had like all kinds of problems to the nth degree, losing several loved ones in the same day. See, so a lot of people have to go through the loss of a loved one at some point, where it's like your grandmother or somebody. Job lost several loved ones. Okay, it's a multi-crisis. He suffered a multi-crisis. We had several crises before him at the same time, with shock. So Job had loss of livelihood, financial loss. He suffered financial loss. He lost it all pretty much. Livestock, which was like money pretty much back in the day, so more like money. He lost property, like financial. He lost like you losing all your money pretty much in your car, in your house, or anything else. He lost wealth. He lost loved ones, several loved ones in the same day. Okay, he lost his health. He lost his mental health. He was suffering from mental health problems. Meaning not that wasn't crazy, but like how if you're super anxious, suffering in pain, anguish psychologically, pretty much, you're not mentally the way that you ought to be. So he was suffering mental problems. He had anxiety. He had pain. He had all kinds of things going on, and he was probably depressed too. Okay, so at times, so Job had like all kinds. So it's like if you're a Christian, it's like that story. It has some true story, historical account, his story, history. Okay, sometimes say story, people make it sound like saying he's saying it's not real or something like this. But it's the point. Um, so if there's a Christian that reads the Bible that goes off right now, chances are the same type of thing was something Job had to go through. If you think about it, where it's like, oh, he lost his cows. Well, if you lost your car or something like this, that's not the for. So it's like it has application. The Bible is always relevant. So it's like, well, he lost. I lost my grandma. Well, he lost 2+ people that are his loved ones. And well, I'm starting with asthma for this. Okay, this guy had bolts over his skin and these severe problems. So Job is a type of Christ and an ideal like responder, first and last responding to the first and the last in the right way. He was an ideal responder, like a model for like what's possible and how a Christian endures persecution, like the highest level of the right way to respond to hardship and suffering as a Christian. Yet in all these things he did not charge God fools or something like that in there. So like despite all these things, which God's point is like there's some things, there's a lot of things, okay? Like despite all these things, he didn't get mad at God and like charge God foolishly. And I think his wife too, he might have betrayed, where his wife was like, just get over, curse God and die or something, just give up the ghost. Like this. And I don't fully understand it. Well, in some cases in the Old Testament or in the New, it sounds like people had the power to just unalive themselves by an exhale. So I don't know. It's like I still didn't call that. And it's one of the things that I just didn't bother to pay enough attention to figure it out. So I don't have a problem to admit that I can't give a call to understand. I don't really fully understand it yet. Look into that. Like they gave up the ghost and all what that entails. But it's like somebody gave up the ghost and they died. And it's showing volition that they choose to give up the ghost. So what's it possible to say? Give up, hey God, give up the ghost, and if he would die. So what does that mean? Did he have the power to like psychically turn off the light switch in the brain, or does it? What it's saying like unalive yourself by other means? It's like give up the ghost. It's like do something to fall on your sword or something like this. So his support, I don't know, but then it would be fall on thy sword or something like give up the ghost. It's like a general thing, give up the ghost. If you look quick in the Bible, it looks like people had the ability to give up the ghost, to be like, yeah, I'm an old man in bed right now. I bless my grandchildren or something like this, and it's like I'm done. And it's like, oh, here I go, God, give up the ghost. Into thy hands I command my spirit.
here we go, 3, 2, 1. What it would be, and it's like they have an exhale. It's like the gods. I don't know, but it's like if somebody knows, I might ask them. So it's like notice how it's like, I don't like having to admit that I don't really understand this thing in the Bible. Understand? I don't really like that. Okay, it is irking me right now quite a lot, and the fact that I also chose to let you know, where I could have kind of played it off like I say, oh, I'm just bored. I want to deal with that right now. But it's the point. Okay, so it's like I don't fully understand and give up the ghost dynamic and whatever what that entails. If they were like the ghost is that if they because you can tell I'll think about it, take a look. So it's, I might come back on it, like give you an update. Okay, so yeah, Job he was a model Christian, and one of the part of what we can learn as Christian is having hard times and looking at how he dealt with hard times, basically. Having hard times and looking at how he dealt with hard times. Okay. Bro suffered immensely. Also, bro, praising God ceaselessly on this. Nice point. So, remember I told you, one of the main things in there is Christ's glorification stuff of this, where he was a foreshadow, a type of Christ, because he suffered for righteousness' sake, not for sins. So Christ Jesus suffered for righteousness' sake. He was good, and that's why he suffered. See, so Christ was nailed to a cross and treated like a criminal, and died and everything else, which is like feeding treatment for a wicked, evil person or a criminal. Whereas Job, uh, he had all these bad things happen to him, and because of righteousness, just as Jesus. And one of Job's friends, Eliphaz the Temanite, I think it was. Eliphaz the Temanite, I think it was, argued that, insinuated, like, argued that it's like, it could be, it's like, I've been young and now I'm old, and I've seen that reap wickedness, so the same. There were some friends that were contemplating and thinking, probably believe it themselves, not trying to be mean necessarily, but they were not very helpful. They were like, it's like, you must have been really evil or something like this, because look at how cursed you are. Okay, it's like see, it's like you must have been really evil because look at all these bad things happening to you. And the guys like Jews, and they know that it's like their relationship as Jews with God. It's like if we mess up, God will come. He'll come in for our buttocks, understand? That we mess up. They would not have pause to believe in like karma and stuff. It's like it was real to them historically, the Jewish nation. It's like, yeah, when we as a people went here worshiping other gods, this happened, and then we got right back. So it's like, let's try not to make that happen again, or something like this. And like oral and written history, that's the point. So these type of people, they knew experientially and studied things that is like, if you sin, it will come back to haunt you. It's like you're not getting away with sins. You also have to remember this was the Old Testament. And I see clearly if I read the Bible, there's a change. And I'd like to say that since the earth has drank the blood of the Savior Christ, there's a different thing. Since the earth has tasted the blood of the Savior Lord Jesus Christ, drank the blood of Christ, absorbed it, there's a difference. Okay? So Christ, God has always been gracious and merciful and kindness, and his character didn't change. But God's dealings with human beings and cultures and nations and individuals has changed over time. Okay, without contradicting all his characters, his attributes. So, if you look at, for example, Sodom and Gomorrah, okay, that was an evil city, and there were sodomy and all kinds of things going on there. Now, you don't see, and there's some preachers that are like, if there's an earthquake in the news, it's like God's mad about the homosexuals doing or something like this, would be the hot take. It's like there's a nightclub shooting in Orlando or something like this. Yeah, God is tired about the abortions. So you make it sound like God is like making these things happen because he's had enough of your crap or something like this. He's just making natural disasters happen and killing a lot of lost people because they're lost sinning sinners living that way. Okay, so for example, if you think about it,
Sodom and Gomorrah, God nuked the city. It was like it got to a certain level of wickedness, it's up to the brim, and I will go down and see if it is according to the cry of it, which indicates to when God was like there has been like a report pretty much, like that something bad is going on in the city. I will go down and see if it's according to the report or cry of it. So which I read as like from the hip indicates to me that possibly God had a self-imposed limited awareness of certain things going on there. Like he's not he might understand like God could choose to not listen to you or something like this. God could choose to not be aware of something. God could choose not be aware of something. So when I say I'll go down, like I'm going down to investigate, to take a look and see if it's as bad as it sounds like it is down there. That sounds like to me that possibly God had a self-imposed ignorance regarding some of things, like a limitation of his knowingness, his knowing. Okay. So anyway, this investigation they're gonna go get, and they sent the angels to get Lot. Okay, to deliver just Lot, who lived being vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. It vexed his righteous soul on the regular. Okay, or continue perpetually. Like storm never stopped, but he was being vexed. Okay, so it wasn't good for him. And now it doesn't say that and taking pleasure in them that live like that or something. So you don't find it. It goes, and Lot lived taking pleasure in the Sodomites that they were doing or something like this. Okay, which you find in Romans. Or like this bad if you like you're kind of consenting, agreeing, or like promoting, or you are like okay, you can pull up pleasure. It doesn't just mean like enjoyment, but it can be where you're kind of okay with. So here's the point. God in Genesis, I think it's 18 now, the story of Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah. Here's another thing. Abram dwelt in the place of Mamre, and you had God show up, then Sarah, his wife. You had God show up, the three men, which either would be angels representing the Christian Godhead, or the Christian Godhead, all three of them embodied. Okay, it was like God the Father, God the Holy Spirit, and God the Son take on human form to his Job. If it could be three men that were angels and kind of conduits for God, okay, and act on behalf of him, which is nothing new. But there are a few words that I didn't fully study yet. So here's the point. I think that I can see God trying to home the point is because hey, look how really athletic Abram was at this point. Because, and I'd like to be able to memorize this at some point, but he must be 90 plus. If not 90, 80 plus. Must be 90 plus at Genesis 17, 18. He must be 90 plus at that point. And the story goes, God goes to visit him, the angels God, and he runs and picks up a calf, a kid, which will be like a goat or like a baby cow or whatever, but it's gonna be 30 plus kilos. I would guess maybe it's gonna be 30 plus if I had to guess, like 30 plus kilos. And he's not pretty sure, and he runs, picks up like 30 plus kilos. I would guess it's 30 plus kilos, and runs, okay, at 90 plus. Whereas like the average Swedish person, maybe if I see an elderly person from the background smoking, they're like 70 plus. A lot of them will walk with a rollator in slow motion, or have like a stick, and you don't see them running. Okay, it's like it'd be rare to see them, like you're surprised that well this guy, you can tell by the hair, everything else that is all like 70 plus, okay, and they're kind of walking not that slow or something. This can be kind of pattern breaking and make it stand out. It's like you're old in Sweden, America, and you're like able to walk at 83 without a roller or sticks or like things or crutches, and without being the wheelchair somebody driving you. That's kind of weird now. So when Abraham was 90 plus, I think it was 90 plus, to me it seems like God should drive the point. I'm thinking about this. It's like, hey, notice how remarkably physically fit and athletic he was. See, where it's like he's 90 plus. He runs to pick up weight and fetch a kid a calf for this. I would guess it's 20 plus kilos, 30 plus more likely, and runs back. Or like he goes, runs, picks it up. Okay, and he's 90 at 90 plus. So this seems like God is working to get to notice that it's like, hey, it's like notice how this 9-year-old, how strangely athletic he was. Guy is running, picking up weight, okay, at 90 plus. So what else? Yeah, Lot, okay. Lot, okay. That's all make more. So God sent some angels, 2 angels. And here's the thing on angels too. Angels in the Bible are always men. Meaning when God sent angels to interact with humans, for example, they were always men, never babies, okay, and never women. But some idols like Catholics and stuff, whoever, like some people, okay, let's not kill the Catholics, but some people, it's like they have the picture of angels with like sweet little chubby babies with wings and gold tails. It's like that's, it's like, the angels, and it's kind of like the angels are actually terrifying, okay? And it's another thing, pattern, I know from the Bible, that it's like psychology now. So how have humans responded in the Bible to the presence of an angel? In terror, okay? Which were a lot of times the first things out of the angel's mouth, the human will fall on the face in fear, okay? See? So it's like psychology, like how have humans throughout the Bible responded like typically to the presence of an angel or more in absolute terror and fear and falling down flat, sometimes like worshiping for this, but basically shocking on it, fall down in fear. A lot of times the first thing they would tell like fear not, okay? And they would be like, don't worship us. At least once they have to sort of worshiping them, and they'd be like, don't worship us. So they would be like awe-inspiring and scary, okay? So a lot of times, and I probably react the same way, also. As a baby, class could tell a story. Probably say like biologically, like, I had a story. I had after getting saved, I was a baby Christ. And I walked like in a woods, kind of, a path, garden path. And it's like a sudden, like thunder and rumbling in the sky. And I got the sense like that the rapture is happening right now. And I fell down in fear. Okay, I fell down in fear on the ground, like on my face. Like I went down, I said I was worshiping. He said, here we go, so the rapture for this. Okay. So yeah, it seems wild sometimes. But it's support. This is Gouda cheese. Go Gouda. Go Gouda. Let us eat. Okay. I should eat. So yeah, Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's talk about that a little bit. So God sent 2 angels from the rescue mission to save Lot and his wife from impending destruction. Okay. Because God was gonna destroy, this is something made now, that God was gonna destroy Sodom and Gomorrah with fire and brimstone. Okay. And they went to get Lot. And here's the thing too. Abraham was bartering with God, like haggling before this. Intercession, like intercession was called. And Abraham was like, after receiving the angels, they're like, we're gonna go on our way to Lot, because we're gonna go check, and we're gonna destroy them. And they was like, am I gonna withhold this? God was like, am I gonna keep this from Abraham, seeing how mildly he's gonna be used by me? He's like, am I gonna keep this secret to him? So God decided to reveal this knowledge to Abraham. It's like, this city is slated for destruction. Okay, we're fixing to nuke this place. And nuke means predator. And Abraham was like, peradventure there's 50 righteous men in the city. Would I destroy the righteous with the wicked? So he's like, they're gonna nuke the city, destroy the whole city. And Abram was like, but what if this like, and righteous meaning saved, okay? Like, let's say this, like, so God goes and decides, and we're gonna keep this from Abram, seeing he's gonna be this. He's like, this is a major player, and I'm gonna need to know basically. I'm gonna let him know this. I'm gonna hide this from him. It could be like a rhetorical question. And not be God is in real thinking about what's gonna do, but it could be like a rhetorical question. Like, would I hide this from him, seeing who he is and what I'm gonna do through him? Okay, so, and it's like, okay, we're gonna go to here and we're gonna nuke the city. We're gonna destroy it. Okay. And Abraham starts bargaining with him. And he goes, but what if there's 50 righteous people, meaning saved people there? What if there's 50 righteous people living in that city? Are going to destroy them with all these evil people? What if there's 50 saved people there? Destroy the saved people with the wicked. And it's like for 50 will not destroy or something like this. And he keeps like haggling and bargaining. It's like, what about peradventure? And he's been very polite, respectful to God. They go like, peradventure, yeah, it's like, don't be mad, please, okay? But it's like, what if there's 45 of them like this? I don't know, remember the numbers by heart right now, but it starts like lowering the number, and it gets God to go ahead with like 50. And it goes, what about if there's 4 or something like this? What about it 30? It's like God goes, okay, incrementally. It's like, okay, for 30, I will not destroy it, and it goes down. Eventually, it goes to go get Lot out there. He was a righteous man, and destroy the city. And the righteous with the wicked, okay? So he's actually going to nuke it to get Lot out there. So Lot and his house was living in Sodom. And I think Lot gets a bad rap sometimes. From Lot came the Moabites, and but were the other type, from incest. So Lot had sex with his daughters. He was drunk and had sex with his daughters. And there were 2 lines of like bloodlines that were born from it: the Moabites and was the Amorites. So Lot got a bad rap. He had bad things happen to him and stuff, and he was doing bad things. He was obviously a sinner, too, saved sinner. Now, wow, this is some good stuff here. Even burnt is tasty. You fast long enough, it makes things taste well, better. So, God sent 2 angels to get Lot out of Sodom. Okay, Esnor, etc. They go there, get him out of, and his house, his home, his family, from the city. And they arrive at the city. I think that Lot at this point of time was sitting at the entrance of the city, which indicates that possibly he had an intuitive sense that Holy Spirit guiding on somebody. For some reason, he was like expecting visitors, okay? Because he was like sitting at the city gate when the angels arrived. As if somebody had alerted him that some people are coming, some people are coming to the gate. And that's one of these areas, if I recall, there leads some sense of mystery. And sometimes we got leads a gap is to get to thinking. What he wants you to meditate and think about and use your brain and be like, notice the details, like 9 years old, and be like, what could the real point be God making here? It's like certain times God is not never sloppy in ineffective communication. So if he looks at this gap at something that he's leaving out, sometimes you can get the sense that it's designed to notice. Now, if you don't notice, you're not going to notice that it's something designed to make you not notice it that you noticed. That's the point. So if sometimes it can be something that's designed to get you thinking. Like, why was the city at the gate or something like this? Like, did he had the Holy Spirit, the Lord put on his heart to go and sit there? Or was it like an angel, he heard the voice of God, like arise and go? Now, it might be that, I might be misremembering things. So we deal with it in bulk here, not on a verse by verse basis. So I don't want to get things wrong. So this is not paraphrasing. You go search the scriptures yourself, see if this is so. I'm working from memory now. So, then you look in Genesis 17, 18, rather, to read about Abram and his wife doing in the plains of Mamre, the word plains from, and and
the angels arriving, and then the next chapter is like going to Sodom. Okay. So anyway, the angels go to Sodom to get Lot out of the house, out of the city, and his family, because they're gonna nuke the city. Okay, they're gonna wreck it. It's like they're gonna nuke it. And notice how angels in the Bible are not sweet, chubby babies with golden hair. They're always men, never babies. Okay. And now you have other angelic. You have like cherubim, and you have seraphim. You have seraphim, and you have, so it's not like the only angels are visitors of humans showing up to be like you're gonna bear a child. Okay, says the Lord, or it's like it is of the Holy Ghost. So angels have used as messengers to relay information as a go between like God sends angels to be like we're here from God. He's got this to tell you. God says here's what's gonna happen from this. Well, the angels don't have a sin nature. So here's another interesting thing. The angels that did not fall with Satan, Lucifer, the great dragon, old serpent, Lucifer, the devil, he led an insurrection in heaven, and around about a third of the angels fell with him. The angels that did not fall had a choice, freewill choice. So the majority of angels did not choose to sin. Do you understand? They did not choose to rebel against God. So the angels that did sin against the Lord, they become sinners. So they're sinners now. Okay. And they don't have a chance to do righteous now. They're fallen angels. The fallen angels cannot produce fruits of the Spirit. They have a sin nature that cannot get saved. Lucifer and his angels cannot get saved. Here's another thing. Some works heretics love to be this. The demons believe. It's like if you're a faith on person, you say by faith on, that's all you need. It's like, yeah, the demons believe and tremble. They quote that verse. Western scriptures once more. Because the point, I taught this before, I'll comment a little bit on that. The angels believe, the devils, okay, fallen angels, devils believe and tremble, demons, okay, tremble. They don't have saving faith, meaning they don't have a need to get saved, they don't have an option to get saved. So just because they believe in Jesus, believe in God, doesn't mean that they're getting saved, because they don't have the option to believe anything to get saved from the lake of fire. Their faith was sealed at the moment that they rebel against God. So the believing there is like seeing is believing, okay? Seeing is believing. So then faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by the elders obtain a good report, and so on and so forth, in the Hebrews 11. So the definition of faith. So that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The Jews require a sign, and the Greeks seek wisdom. So for this. So there's some people that can intellectualize things, but the Jews as a nation, for some reason, I don't know if you got a gene, but it's like this is a joke. But the Jewish nation where people require a sign. We want to believe something, we demand a sign, understand? And you see a lot of miracles happening around them, where it's like, this guy is claiming to be something special, and he's got the works to prove it. Like oh, you know, like raising the dead and walking on water and things like this. Okay, that's kind of like a sign that this is some kind of big shot, unheard of. It's like he was doing things, Jesus Christ, the Jewish Messiah, that were unheard of, but it wasn't the same thing. It is unheard of Old Testament prophets. It was like new. It was something different, and it was on a different level. So he was claiming to be something that they were like, oh, this guy's claiming to be this, but they had the works to prove it, and they still denied it. So Jesus was of God, and he didn't hide that fact at all times. I should bring it to them. Did the Jews know around him when he was like 3 years old? Yeah, here's Jesus. No. It was with the Holy Ghost. What? No, that was not my father's business. Stuff like this. So, yeah, Sodom and Gomorrah. God comes in there, and the angels are not. Angels are. Remember, it's about angels. Somebody tries to sell a little statue, but always an angel is what it looks like. Angels are never sweet chap little babies, and never women. Angels are always men. Now we open up another topic. This angelic creatures. There's spirit beings. There's seraphim. There's cherubim. And I think it could be, is it the cherubim that cover the ark that covered, the ark of the covenant, that it has two angel with wings over it. If that's seraphim or cherubim, I don't recall. I can't recall, but it's one of the other, I would guess. So there's angels that appear as men. Okay, they show up and they have male bodies. Oh, there's so many here. And then there's angel creatures that stay in heaven. Then there's Ezekiel, the weaver in the wheel. I reckon that would be an angelic creature too, or some kind of some marvelous thing. A wheel within a wheel thing. And some people are UFO people. Well, yeah, see, it's like the Bible. It's like they were visited. They were aliens or this. I don't believe in little green men. I don't believe in Martians. I don't believe there's like creatures on other planets that come and visit us sometimes to find sources for this. And there's a lot of deception about that. So, one of the things they could use, I've taught this before, one of the things that there's an agenda and a drive. If you've got two brain cells to run together that can produce some valuable thoughts or input, you should be able to be like, there's a drive and agenda to promote like faith in aliens. Okay. It's like Stephen Greer, these people. And Greer, maybe he should rent the house in Sodom. And he's got good views. That's a joke. It's a joke for crying out loud. So that's the point. Why? Okay. So here's the thing. This part is my license ended up being like cracking jokes, which makes it comedy. Okay. So there's comedy segments. I don't take everything too seriously. Don't take everything more seriously than it should be. Like you get talk by mind don't care. Serious people. Unless I feel it for you. So anyway, that's the point. So Sodom and Gomorrah. We go here. Yeah. So carry on the story here. It never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Okay. So God sent two angels to fetch Lot and his house. Now when it says house, we talk about the building. House like household, home, like his family. Okay. And he goes in there. The Lot. And it's a hard picture in my head, kind of with it. It's like your teenage sons, maybe your daughter, is just sitting and watching TV, and dad comes. Like, hey, the Russians are gonna nuke us all. Okay, he comes in there. Hey, we're all gonna die. World War III just started. The nukes are flying. They're coming for us. Yeah, very funny dad. Something like this. Very funny dad. Kind of. He still just wanted mocked. Basically, is what the word says. Something like that. Mocked. To be like a kind of like troll, something like this. They might describe it as trolling, okay, today. He was trolling. He was trolling. It's like, hey, we're all gonna be dead. Like they might have thought that he was like just pulling the leg. They say, hey, we're all gonna die unless we get out of here. We'll get out of here. These guys gonna destroy the city. And they seem to him as one of the mock. And what is mocking me in this context? Maybe like cracking jokes or saying something down to them, something like this, on purpose. Oh, this is good stuff.
So Gouda cheese, the Swedish word for taste, like good, taste well, like tasty is like good. So it's yeah, tasty old cheese, similar to how the word Gouda cheese feels like in Swedish, because it's very close to the word for tasty, like good. Så well, they've got good mat. Or is it Gouda cheese? Jag vet inte på. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel for this one. So I like the Gouda, so here's yeah. So I'll tell you all the story here. We carried like 1 mile per hour through Genesis chapter 19, I think, right now, or 18 or somewhere. So the angels go to fetch a lot of stuff, and he goes, "Hey, guys, gotta show the city, we gotta get going." He seemed to want to mock, which might be like a trolling. That he was trolling. It should be like you walk in, father, he's got like teenage sons, whatever they are, whatever age, but it's like teenage sons and a daughter and a wife, and we go, "Hey, we gotta get going. World War III just started, the nukes are flying, we're all gonna be dead." Also for this. But yeah, very funny that also for this. Now he's like for real, the serious also for this. I feel like that could have been the type of situation to transpire. Okay. Like he was trolling. Like he thought he was trolling. They weren't taking it seriously, basically. They didn't believe he was speaking the truth. And it's one of Mark. So I guess possibly we could explain it as like trolling, what people might say like youngsters. They're trolling. He was trolling. That's how he was trolling. That law was trolling. Because he came in, I was like, "Yeah, hey, we're gonna be there, we're gonna go on." You know, and then he looked like one that mocked. What does mocked mean? He pulled the leg, maybe. You could change. But they thought he was cracking like very funny there, baby. So anyway, it's a point. And the angels. At the party store with the angels. So they have a roaming band and mob of sodomites. Okay. It's a tragic comedy, okay. It's really different ways. But I am amused at this one sometimes. There's entertaining elements to it. It makes me amused to think about it, talk about. So they had sodomites, okay. If they would have people that throw funny hats, it would be better. But they had sodomites together. Okay, well that's a joke. There's nothing you can do to it. Oh yeah, the bar would be better. The bar actually don't. Personally, I might think it's more funny if there were like gay people and Jews in the same also funny. But it's a point. Okay, this is a story. But they had like the sodomites, like the roaming bands of juvenile, transient, delinquent, vagabond, gigolos or something like this. But they had like a band, like a mob of sodomites, and like assault the house because they had seen the two men, and it's like they're feared. Okay, they're looking good. Okay, they're looking good. So I would guess because the human body here goes a little bit deeper. So if you look at things, I believe that angels, the convincing people, were fair, like beautiful, handsome, comely, whatever word is right now. They were good looking, like remarkable so. And why would that make sense? Well, part of since Adam and Eve, I wonder how they looked like. If like Eve was maybe the most beautiful woman she would ever painted in the whole world. I would be surprised if Eve was like this something so different about what she looked like that it's like they're more beautiful than any woman alive today. So for this, like near supernatural level. That's right after the fall. So sin causes corruption and decay, which means you have mutations, you have like inbreeding, outbreeding, you have all kinds of stuff. So closer to the pure source, where Adam and Eve had just become sinners and the DNA had been corrupted to some extent. It's like the further you have people with a gene mutation breeding with each other, you're reinforcing. Talk about genetics now. So if you have your mom is a carrier for color blindness, and it's like a dominant recessive genes. It's like dominant and recessive genes. So it's like a gene for like color blindness, and then the father has the same sort of gene expression. For like if you have two people with this type of genes, you have color blindness. But if you have one person with it and another person doesn't, you don't have combined children. So over time, here's what I believe, that you had pure genes, and people had most likely, like maybe the average IQ was like 600 or something back when they were living 900 years. Maybe the average IQ was like 600 or something when they were living 900 years too. Okay. And just like harder, better, faster, stronger than anybody today. Okay. It's like I wouldn't be able to boast possibly about my physique stuff. So the people at 90 are like being super athletic. So it's the point, or the specific man. So here's the point. Well, and he probably be like competitive too if I would challenge him. So here's the point. Yeah, talking more. Yeah, so gene mixing. So genes, you mix genes together. You have, if you have like Adam and Eve, they have corrupt DNA to some extent. And then everybody comes from the people in the corrupt DNA. You can have more and more over time, I believe, possibly, like a decay of the genes naturally. We're not talking about God's curse effect, because I'm going to put a limit on your age, your lifespan. My spirit not always start man, for it's by flesh. His day should be 120 years, or if by reason of strength they be 4 scores of like this, whatever the numbers are. So, you had people living 900 years and being more athletic than this. And not every instance is like supernatural miracles for this. So I do believe that many generations back, like when people living for 800 years and things like this, people living in like multi hundreds of years, that at the same time they had higher IQs and they were stronger, and like they were like superhumans compared to what we're like today back then. And it has been like a decay and decrease of the quality of genes over time, at least to some extent. I suspect. And I'm not really driving that home point, that 100% that, but I won't be surprised. That was the point. So the angels were beautiful, okay, good looking. I would think like really good looking. And why? Because they would be human bodies that God made. They look like humans, okay? The angels look like humans. Men. People see men when they walk. You don't see like, oh, we Jesus angels. You see men. So the angels did not have a sin nature. So they had bodies without sin, which I guess might be similar to a glorified body or something. Maybe it'd be similar to a glorified body you get in heaven. Like a body is glorified. So the angels came to Sodom and Gomorrah. They obviously didn't have sin. Wow, this is good. Since they have a body, it appears from the text like a human body. It sounds like a ghost that you can't touch it. Like legit bodies, male bodies, but no sin. I suspect it might be similar to glorified body in heaven. It's like a new body that never has had sin in it, and it's not from corrupt DNA. See, so they might have been just a lot better looking than other people. That's the point. And I don't know what it's like the specifics. Did it like dematerialize in heaven, go back to being like a spirit in heaven, and only like take on the screw or something? Don't take on like a jump into a body to do the work around humans. Do you understand? They put on gloves to work some things. Like the hand would be the spirit, and then the human body is like the soul snatchers, only in the positive. You know, they have like this in the negative in proportion of that. But like the angels, what were they doing before they came down on earth in physical bodies? But they could shake hands with Job with their flesh and blood. And the point sounds like they were eating. When they were at the tent, he offered them food and they ate. So, what I could try to touch them, it's like a ghost that just goes through something like this. So, That's the question that now I'm thinking. So the angels went to Sodom, but they're just spirits in heaven. And they took on human bodies for this work short term. And then when they're going back, I don't think God just nuked them and removed them after that. They're down with them. Okay, it's like they're living in heaven, so they go down to earth to do some work. And they took on bodies to operate around humans. Okay, and then they return to heaven. They return to being spiritual, like not having flesh and blood. A spirit has not flesh and bone, as you see me have. So, but as I said, I don't know. But that's the point. What we do know, okay, sometimes it can be, you get bogged down in speculation about things that is actually trying to figure things out. A lot of times they can come upon where you sense the need to return to certain things that you know for sure. For sure not this, for sure not that, can't be this, and not be over, but it's, what is it more? So, the angels go to get Noah, no, Lot, out of his house and his family. The Sodomites arrived. The Sodomites arrived. The Sodomites there. And they had seen these angels arriving as guests to like Lot's house. Okay. I don't know how many, it's like 5, 50, 100. But like a mob of Sodomites. Okay. I wouldn't, if they had like females in there, I don't remember. So remember, I work from memory now, okay. And we deal with the whole chapter. So, the Sodomites are there. Like a horde of Sodomites. And like assault in the house. They go to the house of Lot. Because they've seen the angels. It's like they see Lot. They actually know Lot. And they see, or they know who he is. And they see that this guy has visitors. They see them arrive, I guess. Like it caused them like an uproar. It's like, I guess somehow they see them like the Sodomites. They see the angels. The Sodomites see the angels. And it's like there's some really, I guess they were good looking. And they go there and go inside the house. And the Sodomites show up, bang on the door. It's like, we saw you receive two guests. That bring them out that we may know them, okay? Which is like this is almost a euphemism. It means to have sex with, okay? Which means to know them, to take knowledge, or to know them. So to know them, at least in certain context in the Bible, means this with sexual intercourse. And Adam knew Eve, his wife. See, that doesn't mean that he had orphans before God cured him. Like, oh, I know who you are now, or something like this. Like, no, that means that they were getting it on. So here's the point. So, so here's the thing. So these Sodomites saw the angels, and they're like, we saw these guys come to your house, bring them out here so we can fornicate with them, so we can sleep with them. And it's okay. I'm not talking in the Bible. There's like 20 plus men that they want to do like a group orgy type thing. They're all gonna jump with these angels and do sexual things to them. That's pretty wild, okay. So that's the level of wickedness in people there. It's like, oh, there's some people who like throw them out to us to the wolves. We're gonna sleep with them, okay. So you see? And Lot was born with them, and he wasn't even offering his virgin daughters. Lot was even offering his virgin daughters to be like, hey, throw them to the wolves. It's like, but these people are for this purpose came down with a shadow of a roof. Like, if you guys are so horny want to take these I have a daughter, a virgin daughter, and you do what you want with this. So he was offering, he was bold to placate or satiate them. But these guys are like mad or horny, okay? So it's like, get my children, my daughter, instead of the angels, okay? And they weren't interested in that. So given the choice between sex with women and angels, they want the angel, the male angels. It's like good luck with that. Okay, here's the point. I mean, it'd be like a Terminator or something. These guys, the angels, probably, they were nothing to kid around about. It's similar to when they sent in the Delta Force to Madrid or something. It's like 5 to 1. The angels should be more advanced. There's two of them, like thousands of sodomites when they were chance. Okay. So there's a quote. And they had like spiritual martial arts and stuff like this. There was a quote where it's like, go let them up, we were asleep with these guys. And it was like the angels were at the door. They pulled Lot in, shut the door from him, right? And then hit the sodomites with like spiritual pepper spray. Somehow they were blinded. They had some power to make them blind, okay? And they were struck with blindness, the sodomites were trying to get in there and get the guys in the sleeping room. That they wait themselves to find the door. So it was hard for them, struggling to like find where the door was so they can get in there. Okay, so being stuck with blindness didn't take the horror out of that possibility. It's like they was the blind struck blind but still in the mood somehow. They just lost their vision, but they still, I don't know what's going on there. But that's the point. Eventually, it's like fast forward, they transport a lot out there. And God makes the city. And that's awful. So it's like they transport a lot of the God makes the city. That's what you get. Now, my point is this. You can see clearly that things have changed since this. Because today, I won't be surprised, like every city, or like a lot of cities, are about as bad or possibly worse. Maybe Las Vegas, USA, has more sodomites in it than San Gomorrah has. I'm not sure. But I won't be surprised if it's like about on par. It's like if Las Vegas, USA today has more sodomites than San Gomorrah has. And it's like it's close to equal to San Gomorrah. All over the place now. If not as bad, then close to. So you can see how things have changed. You can see how things have changed. Where God has more grace now. Where it used to be that things got evil and God would be more brutal. It's like he got to a certain level and God would deal with it. He would like shut it down, he would cut things down, he would tell the Jews to go to war, tear down all things. So there are certain things that things got bad enough and God would smite them, he would cut them down. So you can see how things have changed, because I won't be surprised if Las Vegas has as many sodomites on Gomorrah, and they had like more abortions and all kinds of things that I haven't heard of. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if the average city in Sweden or America is about as wicked as how Gomorrah was. In terms of wickedness. So things have changed and God is not open the same way anymore. So after the crucifixion, the cross, things have changed. Things have changed. But the point is this: I don't believe that God is like causing earthquakes and floods to punish nation sin. Because there's too many abortions of gay people in this country, so I should earthquake this God being mad about it. Anyway, everything's up to you. If you're a lost person, what do you have visited this is not. Sodom and Gomorrah is like an example. Teach you about wrath to come, judgment, wrath to come. So if people don't get saved, they get fire and brimstone by God. I gotta finish up.